Shalom. I want to give all praise to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Ha, Racha, Kodash, Ma'amah. That belongs to the elder apostles of GMS and their elders. That belongs to my elder, Aharawan Ban Yasharal of the Lions Den Camp, here in Jacksonville, Florida. Salutations to the sincere Aki and pushing his truth and sincerity around the four corners of this earth. I'm the call Harab Ban Yasharal, coming out of the Lions Den Camp of Yasharal here in Jacksonville, Florida. And now today I'll be coming out with a small lesson. I won't be before you too long. Without further ado, Salakia. Salakia, but continuing, this is Psalms 55, verse 20. It says, He hath put forth his hand against such as be at peace with him. He hath broken his covenant. Is that not what has happened in the current administration? You know? And then on top of that, Esau, he puts forth his hands against people, you know what I'm saying, that's at peace with him anyway. Once upon a time, wasn't Russia supposed to be at peace with America? Once upon a time, wasn't Russia cooperating and not doing anything? What happened? You poked the bear, and the Lord said, "Okay, I'm gonna let you poke the bear. Once the bear get tired of being poked, it's gonna rise up." You know, that's Esau. You know, putting forth his hand against people that are at peace with him. Once upon a time, even though they all Edomites and they all gonna get destroyed. Putin was talking about peace, but now it's war. But see, this is Esau egging Putin on and egging Russia on, and now guess what? That was Esau again, putting forth his hands against those that supposedly be at peace with him. You know, Esau has broken his covenant. He has pulled out of certain deals, you know, with the Russian mountain and or government, and they won't keep his word. And Esau, you know what I'm saying? They always talking about peace, like right now. This whole thing that's going on. They're talking about peace. Trying to sound good and trying to sound flavorful, but it ain't gonna work. This is verse 21 of Psalm 55. The words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet they are drawn swords. So Esau, he come trying to talk good and sounding good, or he comes, I should say, talking good and sounding good. You know, but when it come down to it, war is in his heart. He trying to figure out how to mess you up. You know, his words are softer than oil. He comes speaking good, sweetly, but when it come down to it, they really words of destruction. They're really words of harm. But let's continue. I'm gonna go over here to Sirach, verse 12, and Sirach, Sirach verse 12. I'm gonna start at verse 10. You know, and see, it's one thing like this. See, Putin, you know, even though they're all Edomites, but Putin know who the enemy is, and he never trusted the enemy. That's why he is taking this stance. That's why he has been making the moves that he has been making. Because why? This is Sirach chapter 12, verse 10. Never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. Though he humbleth himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him, and thou shalt be unto him as if thou hast wiped a looking glass, and thou shalt know that his rust hath not been altogether wiped away. So you never trust your enemy, and that's why you have these Edomites fighting among each other, because you have a Russian Edomite, you know, nonetheless they're Edomites, but you have a Russian Edomite against an American Edomite, and the Russian Edomite don't trust who the enemy is, and he know who the enemy is. You know what I'm saying? It's himself. It's his own race, you know. So it says never trust thine enemy. You're not supposed to trust your enemy. But see, applying it or making it applicable to our people, Jake love trusting the enemy. He love getting amenities and things from old Esau Edom, you know, and don't understand that just like iron is guaranteed to rust over time, Esau is guaranteed to be wicked all the time. Verse 11. Though he humbleth himself and goeth crouching, yet take good heed. Beware of him, and thou shalt be unto him as if thou hast wiped a looking glass, and thou shalt know that his rust hath not been altogether wiped away. So though Esau want to come humbly and acting like, talking good, trying to have those words that are smoother than butter, but wars in his heart and his words are like drawn swords. Though he come humble himself, you take good heed, meaning you pay attention. You revert back to verse 10. Don't trust your enemy. Once you take heed of the enemy and you know who's who, you be aware of him. It'll be just like as if you was looking through a looking glass and you wiped it off and you got it all cleaned up and everything, and then you get ready to look through it again and it's still dirty and filthy. That's how Esau is. That's his shtick. Verse 12. Set him not by thee, lest he, when he hath overthrown thee, stand up in thy place. Neither let him sit at thy right hand, lest he seek to take thy seat. And thou at the last remember my words and be pricked therewith. So you don't even supposed to set Esau by you. And see what has been going on with America and NATO for all this long time. They've been trying to take down what America, keep the bear asleep per se. But they're trying to move Russia out of the way. So it says set him not by thee. So I mean, don't sit down with your enemy. Don't have, I would say, don't have him close to you, because the minute that you're overthrown and he figure out a way to overthrow you, he gonna try to stand up in your place. You know what I'm saying? Don't let him sit at your right hand. Don't let him sit in a position of grace to you. You know what I'm saying? Unless he seek to take your spot, and that's what's going on right now. But the Lord has made Russia enough, and it ain't gonna be no spot taking and no taking over, at least on America's side. But you got to remember to trust your enemy, because then down the line, you remember like, God, dog, I shouldn't have did that. I shouldn't have trusted this fool. And that's how it goes. And that's how Putin has been operating for the longest. He knows like, no, I'm not gonna trust you, nothing. So this whole mobilization on Russia's end is Putin really executing a preemptive strike, which is a very proficient tactic and strategy and war and fighting. Preemptive strikes. Strike the enemy before they can do anything or try anything, and that's what Putin did. The Lord is turning Russia back into that USSR, that old Soviet Union. But let's continue. This is verse 16. It says, "An enemy speaketh sweetly with his lips, but in his heart he imagineth how to throw thee into a pit. He will weep with his eyes, but if he find opportunity, he will not be satisfied with blood." So an enemy speaketh sweetly with his lips, but in his heart he imagineth how to throw thee into a pit. So Esau come talking good, yeah, we're having peace talks and all this stuff, when the whole time he been trying to what? Goad Russia into doing something, and now Russia has been forced to move. So now they're speaking sweetly, talking good, but now demonizing Russia now. Trying to make the world hate Russia. But nonetheless, this is the tactics of Esau, and you're not supposed to trust your enemy. So basically, this is infighting against that nation, and Esau is imagining how to throw Putin into a pit. But what Esau don't know is him, Putin and all the rest of them gonna get thrown into a pit. They're gonna all go into slavery if they don't get destroyed. And they still gonna be brought back into slavery. They're not getting away. But that's how your enemy do. When something happens to you, or he imagine how to get you out the way, but then when something happens, he'll pretend like he crying. But the first time he find an opportunity, he gonna strike at you. He ain't gonna be satisfied with blood. Look at the conflict that's going on. Last point. This is Sirach chapter 10 verse 1. It says, "A wise judge will instruct his people, and the government of a prudent man is well ordered." So a wise man is going to instruct his people. Right now children are ruling over us. So ain't nothing wise about Esau. But it says a wise judge will instruct his people, and the government of a prudent man is well ordered. You know, you could look at this in the sense, well, this would be a dangerous trait, I would say, per se, to have, or go, I won't say to have, but go against somebody with this kind of mentality. And what they don't understand is Putin got that kind of mentality. You know what I'm saying? He judges his people wisely. He instructs his people, but his government, you know, is well ordered. But this is really speaking on a wise, righteous man, you know what I'm saying, that will instruct his people, and the government of a prudent man is well ordered. So it's talking about the righteous man. That's really what it's talking about. But I just used it to give you an understanding of how Putin has it in his mind to do what he's gonna do, and him knowing who the enemy is and not trusting his enemy. So with that, shalom.